So, you have decided to take the IELTS exam. Great choice. It is the test that opens doors around the world. Here we look at a pie chart. This is one of Task 1 types, which will come in the real exam. Look for the other types in my videos. Each of them will be seen in your exam with the same possibility. It means you should be familiar with all of them to get a high score. This is an example of a pie chart. Why it is called a pie chart? Because it looks like a pie. Before eating a pizza or an apple pie, it is divided up into slices. Each slice can be cut largely or smaller, depending on the person who eats. But the size of total pie cannot be changed. So, this kind of chart is easy to represent the total amount of something in different proportions. In this case, the chart is divided up into the shares of total food consumption held by each of 7 different food types in 2014. Now, let's write a report describing the pie chart. The easiest part of the report is to write the introduction. For this, you simply paraphrase the topic sentence. Here, how I wrote it. The pie chart compares the percentage of 7 food types which were consumed by the world population in 2014. Here, I used compares instead of shows. Why is that? Well, this kind of chart tests your ability to compare or to contrast data. There is no data changing over time. All we can do is just to use comparative language. The second, easiest part of the report is to write an overview. For this, you will write 1 or 2 sentences by describing a general trend, or some key features, of the chart. But, you don't need to use any numbers to support your statement. Now, let's look at the pie chart. There are 7 food types. And, which food type was eaten the most by the world population in 2014? Try to find it. I'll give you a couple of seconds. So, for those of you who were able to find it, congratulations. And for those of you who want to enjoy watching, feel free. Meat was eaten by people the most. The second most consumed food was fish. Both of them are originated from animals. So, they can be grouped into one category. The others are plant source foods. We can group them into another category. In the overview paragraph, I'm going to include the 2 main food sources into one sentence. Overall, people feed themselves, mostly, with animal-originated foods such as meat and fish. Besides plant source foods, in that year. As you see, I use the adverb word mostly to form the overview sentence. This is one grammatical structure to vary your sentence forms. Remember, it is important to use a variety of sentence structures if you want to achieve a 7 and higher. Now, let's have a look at the instruction on the question card. It is written that make comparisons where relevant. So, how to compare the data on the chart? If you compare 2 figures simply by saying one is more than the other, or the other is less than the one, you only limit your score. There are some different ways of making comparisons. One of them is to use superlative forms. Here, how I formed it. In detail, the red meat was the most consumed food type all over the world. It accounted for nearly 1/3 of the total food consumption. The second most consumed was the fish, at 27.9%. These 2 products, altogether, made up the majority of the whole consumption. Here, the superlative form is the most consumed. It means the figure for red meat is the highest than any figure shown on the chart. Another superlative form is the second most consumed. The percentage of fish consumption is the second highest figure. So, one alternative way for making comparisons is using superlative forms. In the public version of Writing Task 1, Banned Descriptors, it is written that the candidate, who uses a wide range of structures, gets 8 score for their grammatical range and accuracy. This is one of 4 criteria on which your writing will be evaluated. In terms of crops, namely rice, bread and cereals, they consisted about 1 in 5 of the total. Their percentages varied from 2.5% to 11.7% respectively. In addition, the bread was eaten twice as much as the rice, but was eaten twofold as less as the cereals. There is another way of making comparisons with the phrase as much as or as less as. If you look at the chart, it is visually seen that the percentage of bread is twice more than the rice percentage, but twice less than the cereals. In this paragraph, I gave the same ideas in a different way in the last sentence. Here, the word respectively means these provided percentages by an order belong to the crops which names mentioned in the same order before. In other words, the first figure, 2.5%, is related to the rice consumption, and the last figure, 11.7%, is related to the cereals consumption, and the figure for bread can be found between the two figures. So, why do I only give the 2 figures instead of 3? Well, if we have a look at the instruction on the question card, it is seen that summaries the information by selecting. So, you don't need to write every single information in your report. Select and write the main features which are relevant in your opinion. Fruits and vegetables constituted the rest consumption. They shared almost the same level, at just above 10%. There are some useful vocabulary to tell the percentages in a different way. 1/3 of the total means it is 33%. The majority of the whole, it is more than 50%. 1 in 5 of the total, it equals 20%. And the twice means twofold. Here, 152 words were written. Now, you try to evaluate my writing.